Good morning, everyone. We're here for the Sunday Mindset session. I am Luke Moroney, and we've got Tony Meredith showcasing Queensland as the tourist destination for Australia here. But what we really want to talk about today is our mindsets. This is the Sunday Mindset session. We talk all things mindset on a Sunday morning to get you ready and prepared for the week ahead. How you feeling, Tony Meredith? Matthew Jack, good to have you on.
Luke, I am pumped. I am awesome. I've discovered a new beach in Brisbane. This is so exciting. I'm like a kid in a candy store. However, so too are the bugs that are around me. They're thinking, right, here's a little bit of fresh meat. And currently, as we speak, I'm getting eaten, and I'm sinking in sand as well. So I was just saying.
I'm sure that the bugs are enjoying that meat of yours with a dash of ice cream on the side.
Well, it's 100% vegetarian meat and ice cream, absolutely. And of course, with the extra ice cream, mate, that's why throughout the course of this morning, slowly what will happen is I'll just be sinking into the sand.
Hopefully, Tony, that your mindset doesn't sink. And this is what we're all about this morning. We want to lift our mindsets. We don't want to sink into or dwell in what goes on. And it's that sinking negative feeling that I guess you're using as an analogy there.
What a segue. You've done this before, haven't you?
This is number 69 in a row, Tony.
Fantastic.
It's a magical night, a magical day. We've got a whole bunch of people that have come on. Johnny, Sean, Mum. Sean says good morning. John also says morning, everybody. He likes to get out to the community, John, and let everyone know that he's here. Brett, David, good to have you on. Tony says, I bet that it tastes like ice cream. Big congratulations to Tony Gallagher and the rest of the South Sydney supporters because my team, Parramatta, lost last night.
They were good, the Bunnies. They were good in the second half.
We're another year without a victory by the Parramatta Eels. And maybe they are missing the whole thing about the topic of belief today. And actually the doing part of it, because what we want to talk about today, Tony, is the knowing and not doing. That is a big issue for a lot of people that are out there. I know in the property investment arena, there's people that really want to do it, but there's just things that are holding them back. Tony, I'm sure this happens with many of your clients, and you're the one who brought up this particular topic. So I know that it is probably a big one, and I know Tony's his lips are open, ready to go. He knows what I'm doing to stall him, and I think it's just to him to get a few more bugs to eat him alive, because his mind actually is taken out of control when he actually talks. But when he's not talking, then all hell goes to bay.
Have you finished?
I'm done.
Hey, I would suggest that everyone suffers from this, Luke, at some point in time, the knowing-doing gap. There's a gap between what you know and what you do with what you know. So it's not just some people. I would argue that all of us, I suffer from it as well, and I'd suggest that you do also. So the opportunity is for all of us to put into action the things that we're not doing. And the deeper question is, why are we not doing it? And that's the bit that I love to get into. But look, this came up for me with a client this week, and we were going through looking at his sales forecasting. And he said, you know what? He said, I used to do this stuff. I said, really? He said, and here's what made it even worse. He said, and it used to work. And I was like, oh my gosh. So you used to do it, and it used to work, and he's not doing it. And I'm not having a go at him specifically, because this happens to all of us. And if we're truly, truly honest with ourselves, I'll bet you we could think of countless times when it's like, I used to do something, it used to work, and I've stopped doing that thing. And so that's what today's all about. It's all about saying, you know what, this happens to everyone. So let's not think that, you're excluded or whatever, because everyone suffers from this. And it's about how can we collectively get ourselves to move on the things that we know. And quite often we know stuff that causes us to not make a particular decision, which is cool, but that's still a form of action.
Tony, it almost seems so simple sometimes. It almost seems so simple and so easy to do. There's a reflection of ourselves. I guess maybe we're not spending the time on it. I know that there's plenty of property investors, and we know that in terms of property, and I use that as an example because I do this each and every day, is they see property grow in value. They see the whole difference it can make to one's wealth creation. But yet they don't do it, or they have impatience with it, and they want that quick win. So I guess there's just so many factors around this knowing and not doing. Linda actually come on and said, great topic. I know Linda is big on the mindset training, and she's written something like 10 or 15 books around mindset, NLP and various other things.
Oh,
so
great.
She's great in this space.
We'll have to get Linda on. That's she sounds like an incredibly knowledgeable and experienced lady. So we have to get her on. But if I just change some of the wording that you said before, I say things slightly differently, and that is I say that this is simple. It's not easy. So it is so simple. It is so simple, but it's not easy, because if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? So that's the challenge. And look, the biggest reason, we're probably going to get into this. So I'll shut up. I'll let you ask the questions.
No, go.
Oh, the biggest reason is fear. Like, it's fear. That's it. Pure
that is one
simple.
of the points. So
there you go. I haven't even
did actually jump ahead. Really good. I love it. We've got David who said, great time of the year to be seaside, Tony. Enjoy. Not for the bugs, but for the water. And generally, if you want to get in the water, it might be a little bit different for you than being out by the water. And that's where the bugs often hang around. So we've got Annette Hamilton that has come on as well, and plenty of others, and lots of good mornings there from everyone. So I guess the first point that we want to talk about very early on the piece for us today, getting straight into things, is what is our awareness and what do we know about ourselves? So I guess the first step is knowing that there's something actually wrong or something that we want to be actually doing. So are we bringing it from the subconscious into the conscious and reflecting on what's going on to say, okay, this is what I really want to do?
No, we're not, is the honest answer. And so too many of us spend plenty of time being busy doing stuff. We're busy watching news, with TV, Netflix, scrolling through social media, all those types of things, and we're not spending enough time on ourselves. And it's interesting, another client of mine, she was really, really struggling, right? And she was, oh my gosh, and she was grinding away and really hating what she was doing. She thought she was loving what she was doing, and she kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And she was really grinding away without success. And I said to her, here's what I want you to do. I said, I want you to go to the beach, not this beach because you get eaten, but go to another beach. Go to another beach. And I said, just do none of this particular topic that she was talking about. And I said, just sit with your thoughts. Sit with your thoughts for a few days. She's come back. She is so rejuvenated, re-energized. She's fired up. She's ready to go. She's figured out the things that she had, as in her why, her true reason. She sat with her thoughts for 2 or 3 days, and she's got an enormous amount of clarity. Now, that took for me to say to her, get out of your environment, get out of your unit, get out of your Netflix and all the things that you're doing, remove yourself from all those distractions and just sit in nature. I remember a few years ago, I used to be involved in a 3-day weekend with a good mate of mine, Craig Christie, called Thought Mastery.
Hello, Craig.
Yeah, he's a terrific guy. Hello, Craig, if you're watching. And we used to do, one of the things we did was a thing called Magic Spot. And you would get a little piece, so you're in the mountains, there's no electricity, you're right on the border of New South Wales and Queensland, and you had a little bit of carpet, and you go out to the forest and you'd sit down. It was called Magic Spot. And you literally sat there in the middle of nowhere on a little piece of carpet with your thoughts for an hour or so. And at the end of the weekend, we asked for feedback on, what was the bits that you loved and what was the bits that you didn't love. And the Magic Spot was unanimously the most popular event. Holy dooly, I'm going to be eaten. The Magic Spot was the most popular thing that they all did. And it's so simple. It's such a simple thing. It's like sitting on a piece of carpet in the bush, sitting with your thoughts, but yet it takes for people to get out of their environment to have that particular thought process, which I find is absolutely amazing, that it takes something so, sorry guys, it takes for something like that for people to sit there and become aware. And that's the key. The key is self-awareness.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. And I think, just sitting back and actually putting yourself in those sort of situations. I've done quite a few of these events where you're in a room, and it's probably something that we want to do once or twice a year for ourselves. So it's probably something that I haven't done this year myself personally, but it's something that I've reflected on. And I think in growing in personal development and doing these things in the past, I often find myself thinking about this on an ongoing basis.
Mhm.
But I still believe that taking myself away from work situations or life situations can really help ourselves so much more. We've had Cameron Price and Christine have also joined, and a few others, and saying good morning, gentlemen. And John says that's Queensland sandflies for you. You're supposed to be showcasing Queensland as a tourist destination, and you're hitting those spots, Tony, where not so desirable. Next there would be some magpies swooping on Tony. Absolutely,
That happens. I can't believe
Hey,
it.
Tony, I will say, I was in the cafe yesterday just talking about magpies, and I
Yeah.
heard a conversation about someone who has just got admitted to hospital, riding his bike, hit by a magpie, hit the front brakes, rolled over the front bars, and has, I believe, fractured or broken a leg.
Oh, dear me. Dear me.
So
Yeah.
something to watch out for. I'm a bit of I'm pretty conscious of it when I'm running around and see some of the birds just sitting there and waiting and looking for that pressing forward where they're going to bring their beaks and then start chopping at my ears or the back of my head or something. So I'm a little bit wary of that, but that was an unfortunate incident.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So be careful. I know Craig Christie actually on the bike ride he did the other day was swooped on by magpies on quite a few occasions. So ones to watch out there if you're out and about in the wilderness. So yeah, and I like going back to the topic, Tony, of having that awareness or allowing yourself to have that awareness, having those quiet moments.
Yeah.
And I feel like, Tony, it's almost like we're having these quiet moments ourselves while we're talking about this. You'll discuss something and talk about what's going on with you, and I sit back and go, is that reflective of me? So I often, this is where we can actually, for everyone that's listening right now, are you taking in things about yourself? You might be hearing something that, like the magic carpet situation,
Sure.
you might now actually be reflecting yourself. So you might sit somewhere today and actually reflect on what's going on. I guess this is what we want to share.
Yeah, and I would encourage people, again, so the whole knowing doing, I mean, there's no better time than right at the end of this session, so whatever you've got planned for this morning, can you fit in a 2, 3, 5 minute time on your own? I'll bet you can. If you're truly honest with yourself, you'll find 2, 3 or 5 minutes. And so it's about going, hey, cool, that was a new idea that I heard this morning. That's what this is about. As Luke said, 69 times we've been here. There's a damn magpie there.
Oh, no.
No, it's all right because there's some people that have just walked past, and so he's going to go for them, which is terrific. So I'm right. So as long as there's people here, he'll go for someone else. Anyway, my point is that this is about we've been here 69 times. At the end of these sessions, why don't you put into it is too. That's unbelievable. Why don't you put into place some actions with the things that we talk about? So why don't you take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it might be. I'm jumping now. This is going to be fascinating on live TV. We'll edit this out. That's cool. But why don't you take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes to sit there and reflect on what we talk about this morning, but then also have a chat about, I'll think about what can you do this week, right? So it's not just about this morning, it's about start. And this is around becoming self-aware. 2 favorite questions. What are they, Luke?
Oh, you know what's really interesting? Oh no, here we go. Couple of things. Firstly, how long was that magic carpet session?
It was about an hour. It was an hour
okay.
on a magic, called it magic spot, little piece of carpet, and you literally you were just in the thickest of thick rainforests, and it was just incredible. It was just truly a moving opportunity. And again, you could sit there and twiddle your thumb. I mean, you get out of things what you put into them, right? You could sit there and twiddle your thumbs and do whatever. But when you immerse yourself in what your thoughts are and where you're at and how you're feeling, tap into your heart. That's important. Then incredibly powerful.
So just on those 2 things, but before I get to those 2 things, we've got Cam Murray who's come on, ice cream extraordinaire, and he had some awareness himself this week actually, which was really good. Probably forced onto him rather than, but then didn't push it another level. So felt that it wasn't quite right for him. Just to use Ken as an example, then pulled it back. Wasn't feeling so good about the amount of work that he was doing, pulled himself back, and now getting back to his normal self. So, which is really good. Having that awareness and knowing that you're not pushing your boundaries so much beyond what you're, I guess, capable of, because then it affects you in the long term. So you may be taking that short-term rest to get that long-term involvement. So just to use...
Well, it's called balance. You know, so it's I don't know if it's so much what we're capable of, it's what we're prepared to do. It's about balance, right? So I think truly we're capable of doing an enormous number of things, but it's about making sure that it fits with where you're at and what it is that you want to do, what you're prepared to do, because a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this as well, I have the pendulum swing far too much in the work side of things and not enough on the other side. So it's about having balance.
Okay, a couple others. Sean says, Alfred Hitchcock's birds now shooting in Queensland. Laugh out loud. We go more like Isat has come on as well. Good to see you on. And David says, you are not welcome in territory, Tony, in that territory.
It's not the first time. That's not the first time that's been told to me, David. So that's okay. That's move on. I'm just, look, you know what? I'm putting my body on the line for the Sunday mindset session. That is what I do. That's
right. And those two things, I will reflect on. I was in spending some time with the family up in Toowoomba last night, and what they do with their the family. There's a couple of young kids, and they are in a situation that each and every night they say what their favorite thing is of the day.
Yes.
And I was just like, wow, that is so cool that comes into that environment. So for whatever reason that they come into doing that, it's just a superb thing. It's positivity spread within the family. And these are kids at, must be like 6, 10 years old. There's 2 kids. And I actually bought in your 2 things, Tony, and we went around the table. There was eight of us there, and we went around the table. The only thing I would reflect on is people, when we came to the point of what can you improve on, then it was like, bounce off and a little bit of banter and maybe a little bit of negativity. So, I guess some of the judgments came in at that time. It was probably all done in fun, but then we've got to reflect on how we are going to, affect people as well. So we've got to allow people to speak about it. So Tony's 2 things is, what did I do well today? And what could I have improved on? So we went around.
The second question, I ask it slightly differently, and that is, what can I do differently moving forward, right? So, and the whole idea is that I want to get people to constantly move forward, right? So we can sit here and take the lessons of the mistakes and all that sort of stuff, but I want to know, what are you going to do now? Because you can't. So if it's an evening at 6 o'clock meal or whatever it is, you can't change what happened in the day. And so it's about that day's gone. It's a wonderful day, and always let's start with what went well, because that's about gratitude. And gratitude is an absolute powerful weapon in your mindset, building an amazing mindset. But then it's about, what can I do differently moving forward? So tomorrow when my feet hit the floor, what are the things I'm going to do different? Does that make sense? I'm going to take that action. I'm going to speak to that person. I'm going to, make that phone call. I'm going to, whatever it might be, I'm going to do that differently.
What did I do well, and what can I do differently?
Correct.
It was amazing, actually, even from the kids and their reflection about themselves. So powerful. And when you actually ask these things of kids, so to any parents that are out there, ask these questions of your kids. And I'm astounded by the responses of kids on an ongoing basis. I shouldn't be so surprised, but I constantly am, because they just, whatever comes out, it's just straight from the heart. It's straight from the core about their awareness. There's no overthinking what we do as adults. They're straight into it. And I guess we can reflect on this as adults as well. What would a 3-year-old or 5-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid do in that situation? What would I do as that 5-year-old kid or 6-year-old?
I was just going to say, ask about what would your 5-year-old self do? And you think about, again, because we haven't got the preconceived thoughts, we haven't got the limitations, we haven't got anything, because we're kids, right? We're kids. And so, when we're walking, and again, we can't remember this, but when we're trying to walk, we fall down, we get up, we fall down, we get up. We're so determined to get up. We're not going to sit there for too long because we want to walk. And then as you keep going on, but what happens is throughout life, you get, whether it be your parents, whether it be teachers, whether it be your experiences, whether it be news, etc., colleagues, whatever it might be, all of a sudden, all these limitations get filled into our head. You're not good at money is the root of all evil. don't talk to strangers, all these things that people think are keeping you safe. And when it's reinforced and reinforced and reinforced, what happens is it becomes a new belief. And now what it is, it's the ceiling. And I can't break through the ceiling because this thing must be true. And that's the opportunity that we talk about here on a Sunday morning, is how do we break through that ceiling?